hours away from landfall, and that will be somewhere in this Big Bend area of Florida. Here is the high-resolution satellite image now. A well-defined center. We're also seeing thunderstorms erupting, like tons of lightning around this. And when you see that lightning around the eye wall, it still represents a strengthening hurricane. The potential is there. This could be a Category 4 hurricane at landfall. It's just on the doorstep of that. Winds are at 120 miles per hour. North to northeast movement now at 21. And that's the 6 p.m. update. So this came out just a couple minutes ago. So Category 3 tracking its way to the northeast with landfall coming up a little bit later on this evening. Now as the hurricane presses a little more northward after landfall, it's going to spread hurricane force wind gusts across this area shaded in red. That's where hurricane warnings are. And the new addition now to the warning is Jeff Davis County. So our friends in Hazelhurst and Denton out there, you have a hurricane warning. Expect wind gusts tonight upwards of about 75 miles per hour.
Talk about some of the work that's already been happening, that's happening right now as we wait on this storm to come hit us.
Well, so many of our public works crews, our public safety crews, do a lot of preparation before hurricane season even starts. You know, the old adage, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And so a lot of things, equipment has been checked, but then as you get into the time of knowing that a hurricane is coming, there's those last minute things that you do, making sure chainsaws are gassed up, making sure all your vehicles are gassed up and they're in working order, making sure equipment's charged up, all those sort of things that have been done this week, getting ready for tonight and tomorrow.
For landfall, there it is. That's a massive storm. And again, we'll continue to see impacts from that system because it is so large over the next couple hours. These isolated tornado warnings will continue through tonight. We have that tornado watch in place.
North will keep it in that direction. What we were hoping the entire time, at least selfishly, I like to say, for southeast Georgia and the low country, we did not want it to take a major hurricane tracking right in our direction. We'll have enough problems across our area tonight, and we've certainly already seen that across our area. So the tornado indicators are on here, and we need to get right back to Chatham County because we do have that active tornado warning out there right now. And this is moved very, very quickly. So it's pretty much right along the Savannah River, also into Jasper County. And we do a slice of that. So what I'm doing here, if you're just joining us, is I take an X-ray of the storm. So the radar can look inside the rain, the clouds, and determine the winds and what they're doing within that thunderstorm. And right in there, definitely could be a quick-hitting spin-up tornado. WJCL 22 reporter Lydia Blackstone, who is far out into southeast Georgia. Let us know where you're at. And if you are in Jeff Davis County, you're in a hurricane warning. So set the scene for us out there.
Yeah, Jeremy, I am in a hurricane warning out here in Jeff Davis County, and all of the warnings that you're giving about these tornadoes are very vital because things have turned deadly here. 2 people have now been confirmed dead about 20 minutes away from where I am in Wheeler County. Now, we got reports here at the emergency agency that tell us that 2 people are dead because their trailer that they were in was lifted up from its foundation by a tornado that you were giving a warning about in Jeff Davis County, and it was transferred to a nearby peanut field. Now they're searching for one other person that was in that home right now. That's the details that we have as of now. That's about 20 minutes away from where I'm standing, which is why it's so important to heed these warnings that you're giving us about all of these different watches and warnings of these tornadoes, because these spin-up tornadoes are happening. And in the area that I'm in, it's also under a hurricane warning here. So we're seeing more gust of wind here. It's settled down with the rain a little bit, but it can change any minute. You know how it goes. So we're keeping all of that monitored. And of course, we'll give you any more information about these deaths, as well as the search that continues for one more person that was in that mobile home.
We are starting to see some heavy winds, a lot of rain, and some damage all across southeast Georgia into the South Carolina low country. Right now, we want to check in with WJCL 22 News' AJ Sisson. He is live down the coast in Brunswick. And AJ, what are you seeing down there right now?
Well, Frank, to be quite frank with you, you can't see much at all because the power is out. And actually all around our area, there's nearly 1,000 customers out in the Brunswick, Glynn County area, maybe even more. We're seeing power flashes up in the trees above us. So be careful when you're outside. I don't know how much you can see right now, but those trees over there, the big impact that we're seeing down here in the Glynn County, Brunswick area is heavy wind gusts, heavy winds, heavy winds. There's power flash, power flash. This is what we've been seeing, and we want to make sure that you guys are being careful.
So we're going to go over to Jeff Davis County and Hazelhurst for our Lydia Blackstone.
Yeah, and Lydia, I know you've been out there all morning and conditions certainly picking up out there. What can you tell us?
Well, I decided to move inside. It's just become too dangerous to be outside there because of all the debris and trees falling out there. We can confirm another fatality just down the road. A tree fell on a mobile home. We know that there are several different incidents that are happening out there with entrapments that first responders can't even get to right now. They're inside with me right now inside this building because of all of the down power lines, the trees, and the heavy, heavy winds. I mean, we can just hear it outside right now, the way that it's howling all of the storm here. So we're going to continue with these updates here. But as of now, in my neck of the woods that I'm reporting in, we know that there's about 3 fatalities in the area because you have the 2 other that passed away sadly earlier around 10 p.m. tonight from the mobile home that was picked up by a tornado and transferred to a plot of land right next to it. There was another person that they were searching for. We still don't know any information on if they have found them or not.
There's Hazelhurst, Highway 221-23 right in there. That's where we're seeing some of the strongest of the winds. You just saw that live look from Lydia Blackstone. She's right there in the right in the eye wall now. So she had to go inside where it's safe because definitely a lot of trees are coming down and many areas are continuing reporting power outages. You can see Baxley right there with those strong and gusty winds and heavy rain further to the north there from just about Reedsville, Glenville, Claxton up toward Statesboro as well. We're seeing those winds that continue to increase right there just outside of that eye wall there. And Candler County that is headed your way. You're going to be right in that eye wall here very soon.
Around 4 o'clock today, it was like any other normal day. Now we are starting to feel the real impacts of Hurricane Helene. Frank, you mentioned power outages. Right before this hit, just got done taking a look at the Georgia power outage map. They are the main power provider for Bullitt County. I saw at least 4,000 customers here in Bullitt County without power. We are here on Brampton Avenue, just off of Fair Road near the small neighborhood Walmart. I look around here and it looks pretty normal, whatever normal is for 3 in the morning. Lights are still on, but one thing we are noticing is that these palm trees, they got big, thick palm trees here. They are swaying with the wind. Lots of wind, lots of heavy wind is coming through the area right now, and that is what we're seeing. I just touched base with Corey Kemp. He is the Emergency Management Director here in Bullitt County. Corey tells me that they have numerous trees down, some over power lines, some over roads, and that is a real problem as first responders begin to continue to assess the area. We are getting another wind gust, as I talked about. Oh my goodness, wow. We're gonna stay here and kind of hold our spot. I am not trying to dramatize this for you folks. I really am trying to lean against the wind so that I don't, this wind is really whipping around now because, oh my God, the palm tree literally just collapsed. The tree that I was just referencing swaying so much just collapsed about 10 feet from where I'm standing. Thankfully, I am safe. My photographer is safe, but this is exactly why, folks, we are asking you to stay inside because a car could have been under that, a person could have been under that, and that would have been a very dangerous situation. Heed the warnings of officials. You heard Lydia Blackstone say earlier that she was hearing tree snaps, and now we're seeing that here in Bullitt County. The conditions, unfortunately, are only going to get worse. We are going to try and get inside because it's starting to feel a little unsafe out here. Frank, Emma?
All right, Andy, you guys be careful out there. As we can see, definitely the conditions are worsening there in Bullitt County. Our Andy Cole live for us from Statesboro. Thanks so much, Andy.
And we want to turn now to WJCL 22 News' Tia Maggio. She's been live in Bluffton for us since yesterday, monitoring the conditions in the low country. And how are things looking out there right now, Tia?
Well, Emma, Frank, first you can see I'm also hatless as well. I followed Andy's lead. You saw earlier I actually did lose my hat, had to go run for it. And these conditions, as you can see, it's just these are the worst, honestly, from the 12 hours I've been here in Bluffton. This is the worst of the wind gusts that I have seen. We do know also that there was a tornado reported here in the area of Bluffton Thursday morning around 9 a.m. And as we speak, speaking of power outages, about 14,000 South Carolinians the last few minutes that I checked are without power here.
What? Let's move from Hazelhurst over to Statesboro. That's where WJCL 22 News' Andy Cole is. He's been in Bullitt County all night into the early morning hours. And Andy, it looks like conditions there haven't improved any since the last time we talked to you.
No, that's exactly right, Frank. I feel like every time I'm on TV, I tell people this is the worst we've seen, this is the worst we've seen, this is the worst we've seen. But I can tell you now, as we near 4 o'clock in the morning, this is the worst we've seen. This is heavy rain that is nonstop, lots of gusts. We told you earlier that we were getting some gusts and then they'd stop, and then some rain and then it'd stop. That is certainly not the case. We are getting kind of a combination of the both, which is what makes this situation even more dangerous than it needs to be. But I want to tell you one story about some amazing courage of some first responders here in Bullitt County. I just got this story from Mike Broadhead. He's the chief of Statesboro Police. He tells me that a woman here in Statesboro, a pregnant woman, actually went into labor just a few minutes ago. This is all happening right now. This is really breaking news. She went into labor a few minutes ago, but of course the storm. It's very difficult to drive through. It's very difficult to move around. And of course, Bullitt County officials reminding you to stay indoors. So she calls the authorities. She calls 911 to try and get people out. Statesboro police officers were able to escort in EMS around down power lines, down trees, and were able to get her and bring her here to East Georgia Medical Center just off of Fair Road. As you can see, these conditions are very treacherous, so those first responders seriously went through some very dangerous environments to make sure that that woman and her child, soon-to-be-born child, were okay. I don't have an update on her condition. I do know that they are on their way to the hospital. Of course, I will continue to press Chief Broadhead to try and learn more about this and follow up with this woman. But just an amazing story of the risks these first responders are taking. A Bullitt County official told me earlier today that at some point tonight they may have to hold the first responders in place because it's just simply too dangerous to move about.
Then you go through that big mess that everyone has to clean up. Trees are down, and of course these power outages. A lot of stuff has to go on. Once we get this, we have to get this out of here before we can begin to see some things improving.
We have at least 4 people that are now dead, 2 in Jeff Davis County and 2 right next door in Wheeler County. A lot of those being mobile homes because of these trees that have been falling. I want to show you what we're seeing out here at the emergency management scene here. You can see all of these tree downs. We're completely trapped right now. All of this right here, this was a forest full of trees. Now it's just completely vacant.
At one point, we had 7 tornado warnings that were active.
You know that 11 people have died due to the impacts of Helene. 1 death happening in Liberty County. Officials tell us a tree fell on a camper on Buck Lane. You can see it right now with the tree just right directly in the middle of that home. Sad to see. And now to Jeff Davis County, where at least 2 people have been reported dead due to falling trees there as well after impacts of Helene. Strong winds took down several trees across the area, and right now several of their roads are not passable. Emergency services are now working on cleanup efforts as water and power outages continue to impact residents in that area. You see them hard at work trying to cut down those trees. Now to downtown Savannah, where you can see debris and fallen trees all over the roads. Helene wreaking havoc across southeast Georgia, leaving many residents stuck in their homes. We're told cleanup efforts will be a multi-day process. Emergency crews across our area were bombarded, as you can imagine, with calls overnight. WJCL 22 News' Tia Maggio shares one emergency situation fire officials are now investigating.
I'm here off Windsor Road in Shell Point, where Burton Fire Department says it responded to a mobile home engulfed in flames early Friday morning. Just before 1:30 Friday morning, Burton Fire Department responded to the scene of a mobile home on Windsor Road completely engulfed in flames. They say thankfully from the heavy wind gusts and rains they saw here, they're able to quickly extinguish the fire. The fire district says it responded to over 50 emergency calls related to Hurricane Helene. They say several of those emergency calls were from wires and downed trees and power lines, but as well as electrical fires. Burton Fire Department says the cause of this fire is still under investigation and whether or not Hurricane Helene had a direct impact. Reporting in Beaufort County, Tia Maggio, WJCL 22 News.
A similar scene in other parts of that area, a wall ripped off a Hazelhurst business, the building's interior exposed to the outdoors. Helene also brought down power lines and countless trees, a dangerous situation for homeowners. We spoke to one man who said he's never seen anything like this before. He now has a message to share with others.
If they tell you to stay or they tell you to leave, please just leave, because you don't want to look like the house across the street where the trees fell into the house and everything. You don't want to look like that.
You're looking at more of the damage in Hazelhurst. The city left with a lot of cleanup to do. The Hazelhurst Police Department is asking everyone to stay off the roads as much as possible. In Liberty County, one person is dead after a tree fell on a camper. WJCL 22 News' AJ Sisson went to Midway to speak with neighbors about what happened.
A devastating scene in Liberty County. One person is confirmed dead after a large oak tree fell on their camper. We can't get much closer than this, but check this video out. Not much is known right now besides that one person is confirmed dead, although it is unknown when they died and their identity. Neighbors told us gusts of wind picked up throughout the night on Thursday, much heavier than they expected. However, a much louder bang and crash than usual raised some alarms with neighbors.
I heard a tree hit something. I told my husband, I said, I think a tree just hit somebody's camper out here, because it was very loud and it was very metallic noise, and obviously it did.
We're working with local authorities to figure out what exactly happened. You can stay tuned to our website at WJCL.com. We'll also let you know on air as we learn more information in Liberty County. AJ Sisson, WJCL 22 News.
I'm Andy Cole at the Oak Hill Mobile Home Subdivision in Bullitt County, where we are seeing 360 degrees of destruction. You see right over my shoulder, this limb fell right in front of this trailer. A woman that lives inside tells me she is lucky to be alive. Thankfully, they did not see any more damage than this, but their neighbors cannot say the same. Right here, this home, several limbs fell on it. The homeowners say at some point they felt the trailer lift up with these heavy gusts of winds. That's what we were talking about all overnight, the possibility of those heavy wind gusts. But their neighbors, even more damage. You come to this side and you see this shed is completely destroyed by this limb right here. And you see this is only half of that tree. The other half ended up on their trailer itself. The homeowners here are okay, but they have a long road to recovery. And you turn one more bit right over here, you see the rest of this road is completely blocked by this ginormous tree. Right now, neighbors are coming out to start attacking this tree, trying to get it apart, but it's going to take some serious machinery to get this done.
You hear things smashing, you hear the roof lifting, you hear the falls treeling, and you're scared to death. It's literally terrifying.
There was a couple of times that we felt like our mobile home was getting ready to come up off the ground, but thank God it didn't. It was pretty ferocious last night. Like I say, it was just a terrible night. We couldn't sleep, couldn't rest. My kids were like they were afraid.
And as chainsaws begin to roar in this neighborhood, neighbors are thankful for the power of prayer. They say that's the only thing that got them through this storm. In Bullitt County, I'm Andy Cole, WJCL 22 News.
You're looking at the aftermath of Helene. Take a look at this video that we're showing you. The storm made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane before tearing its way north along the East Coast. Not a single county in Georgia or South Carolina spared. Millions of people are still without power. You're taking a live look at the Georgia power outage map. It now says over 900,000 customers are still impacted by the storm. Still no word on when power will be fully restored.